As a result, this buying frenzy kind of continued to inflate sales. In today's video, is the condo market crashing once again in downtown Toronto and Toronto at large? Let's get to it. Hello everyone, this is Sam from SaberiSixRealEstate and Remax Realtron Realty Inc. As always, back with another video for you guys here today. You can find my contact information in the description box with regards to my Gmail, my Instagram, and my office. Feel free to get in touch with me with any further questions you may have via my contact info or in the comments as well. Lastly, as always, if you happen to enjoy my videos, feel free to subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Your support in that regard is much appreciated as always. However, you're not obliged to do so whatsoever. Anyways, before we get into the point of today's video, which is the condo market and sales data and prices, which seem to have lulled into May. Before we get into that, I want to take a moment to thank you and appreciate your patience with the lack of videos on this channel for the last 2 weeks. I took somewhat of a mini break for the last week and a half, 2 weeks. I haven't posted in a long time by my standards because I usually post 3 times a week. So I appreciate your patience while I have been gone for a week and a half, 2 weeks. Some of you might have actually celebrated that fact, that there was no videos on this channel. For those who are concerned or very much so hoping for new videos, I did post in my community page on my channel that I would be taking a break, but the break is over. Let's get to the point of today's video, as I aforementioned, which is, as typical on this channel, the condo market. We're gonna discuss the fact that condo sales all over the GTA have dropped for a second straight month in a row, with the biggest drop being observed in downtown Toronto in terms of sales data. So in March, if we observe March and even February, there was something of an explosion of buying activity. There was ample supply and ample demand. That's why in March and into April, there was a lot of bidding wars for properties in the Toronto condo market, all the way from North York to especially downtown. There were 7 to 6 condominium units that were all comparable within a very close radius of one another, so within a block or two. And these alike condos, all 7 of them would have multiple offers, and the offer presentation dates would be on the same night. And typically you would see where maybe 5 of them sell on offer presentation night and 2 of them don't. Well, this wasn't happening in March and into April, 2 weeks into April really, because there was just so much buying that was occurring and so much demand on the buying side. And once again, there was ample supply to meet the demand. Obviously, the supply, according to basic microeconomics, couldn't have actually been as much as the demand. When I say ample supply meeting the demand, I'm just saying there was a lot of inventory for buyers to fight over, but nonetheless, the inventory was still less than the demand due to the seller market nature that we were experiencing in March and April. That is the basic definition of a seller's market, really. So the ample supply, even though once again was plenty supply, it was still less than the demand. The point here is the reason in April, the first couple of weeks of April, it didn't slow down as much was because of the increased mortgage stress test that the OSFI announced. And when OSFI announced this mortgage stress test, as I covered in my previous videos, they put June 1st as the commencement date of this increased stress test that would remove a good portion of the buyers from the market, or not remove them completely, but limit their options. Other buyers, a lot of cash buyers, a lot of buyers with a lot of capital, obviously this would not affect. Nonetheless, there was a buying frenzy occurring all the way up to June 1st, and at the time of recording of this video, we're speaking on June 3rd. As a result, this buying frenzy kind of continued to inflate sales. But now this seems to be over, and it has been over really for half of April and the entirety of May thus far. So now let's go through the numbers. So when we look at the GTA at large with regards to sales, the total number of sales in May for the GTA was 3,368. Now comparing this to the previous May is actually more than double. So year over year, it's a great increase. However, last May, for obvious reasons, might be a little tricky to do a comparison with. I said the same thing for March and April, actually, because of the worldwide events that we really experienced in March, April, May that was new to the world at the time and put a lot of things on pause. So year-over-year comparison here can be a little tricky, but nonetheless, it shows a improvement. But when we compare it to March, the peaks of March, we actually see these number of transactions much lower than, once again, the peaks of March and April, wherein we see a dip of 23%. Now, this is only in terms of the number of transactions. In terms of price, things have pretty much remained the same. So they haven't increased substantially, they haven't decreased substantially. This is when we look at it, once again, in a month-over-month analysis. So when we compare May to April, and I'll do more specific and detailed price analysis and trends by bedroom numbers and unit layout, all types of breakdowns on complete May numbers later on in this week in my condo market updates. Now, some of this is very much so seasonal. Summer markets are always slower markets for sellers and even for buyers as well. There's a lot of buyers looking for properties in the summer. However, usually both on the buying and selling side of things, a lot of buyers put their plans on hold. A lot of sellers put their plans on hold as well. Nonetheless, this summer, I think this could be another topic for a different video. It's a very good time to be a buyer at large, even if you're not even talking about condominiums. I think if you're talking about freehold, semi-detached, detached, townhomes, condos as well. But generally speaking, this summer, I think it's a really good time to be a buyer, really. Point being, usually it is seasonal. You do see a dip in sales in the summer, but this dip in sales is going to be a little bit more exasperated by, once again, the fact that the new mortgage stress tests will remove a lot of the buyers from the market, and as a result, a lot of the inventory as well. In summation, once again, what has caused the dip in inventory and number of transactions and an overall slower market for Toronto condominiums in downtown and overall in GTA really is the fact that it's a summer market, and when we slowly approach the summer market, we see a dip as always. And lastly, the fact that the OSFI increased stress tests have added on to what normally occurs anyways. There is a third reason that I hypothesize has to do with the fact of a returning rental market. So a lot of people are now renting again in the summer, and also the fact that we are hopefully, it looks like, finally getting over the worldwide event and things are opening up a bit more. And that also adds on to what usually we see with a, when we see a stall due to this normal seasonal summer market, and added on with the special mortgage stress test increase. So this opening up and a shift into the rental market can be a third reason that is adding on to the previous two reasons to really, in some, slow down the market here. But we have to see what June and July numbers really have in store for us. And I will do some June number reviews within the first week of June, second week of June, later on this channel. That's today's video. Thank you very much for watching. Feel free to subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Ask any questions you may have in the description, or rather, the comments, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. And as always, stay safe. Thank you very much.